So with this new release of ProfileBars, I thought I would do a quick getting started video including the installation, which I'm sure most of you already know how to do, but it may help somebody get started, and it's all part of the test process of a new release anyway. So this is a completely new install of Windows 11, nothing on it at all apart from the Windows updates. I've downloaded NinjaTrader, installed it, and I've downloaded the pjsProfileBars from the website, so it's ready to go. So totally blank NinjaTrader install, no third-party indicators of any sort, completely fresh. So if we simply go to the Tools menu, import NinjaScript add-on. I'll say I'm sure most of you know how to do all this anyway, but we'll go through some of the simple settings as well, might help somebody. So they're in my downloads folder, pjsProfileBars. We just double click that, give it a few seconds, tell it it's fine. And there we go, imported. So then all we need to do is actually add the indicator to the chart. So you might be wise, by the way, especially if you've already had a previous version of pjsProfileBars installed, to shut down NinjaTrader and restart. In fact, we'll do that. No, we won't, because of the login, which will be a pain. But you might be advised to do that. Let's see if it does in fact work without a restart. So in the indicators list now, we have pjsProfileBars. So this machine isn't super responsive, being a virtual machine. So double click it to add it to the list here. And simply OK. You see at the moment we actually have the NinjaTrader native bars showing up. So what happens is you get this warning simply because pjsProfileBars has its own inbuilt bars. So you don't really need these native NinjaTrader ones. So what you can do is from the chart style list, just go to null style, turn them off, and refresh your chart. And there we have standard profiles. If I open these up a little, you'll start to see the various bars and the volume profiles. You see some of these profiles are fatter than these others, which barely have anything other than the candle. That means there's a lot more volume here and not a lot of volume here, which is probably also why when we get back up to here, obviously we encounter some supply and rotate back down a little bit. That's the whole point of ProfileBars, to present this in a way that is easy on the eyes. What you can do if you want these bars to be fatter, if you hold down the left control key and press the up arrow, you can adjust the amount of bars on the screen. And then if you hold down the left alt and press the up and down, you can actually adjust the thickness or width of the bars, which will make the larger profiles look larger and the smaller ones look a little bit larger. It's just a case of really finding what looks good for you on the screen for your particular instrument and time frame. The relative nature of the widths is based on the amount of bars you currently have on screen. So if we were to zoom to the side, well, actually what's happened here is we've fallen back to candle mode, which is another feature of profile bars. The profiles would be too small to see anyway, so rather than just having a large mess on the screen, you can zoom back and see native candles. So I will keep zooming in. There we go, till we get the profiles back. So now we're taking into account the volumes from all of these bars in the width. So the fattest bar is here. It's actually the largest volume bar on the screen, and similarly here. Again, that's what makes profile bars a bit unique and easy to spot these areas. So a couple other things I may be able to show you. If you click on the indicator, just to select it once with the normal button, and then you right click on the indicator, you can have some options which take effect immediately without having to go through the indicator properties. There are some options such as split buy and sell volume, where the sell volumes are on the left and the buy volumes are on the right. I actually prefer this view for my shorter term profiles, but it is personal preference. A few other options in here regarding turning the data grid on and off, and so on. So if we go and take a look through some of the volume settings in the properties, I just double click the indicator there to bring the settings up. We'll cover most of these settings in another video to not make this too long. This is really just to get you started. Some important options. I was talking about the relative nature of the widths. Some people only have a few bars displayed on the screen, which makes the relativeness not particularly useful. So what you can do is specify a number of bars here to actually use for that calculation. So there will always be 20 bars in this case, counted for volumes or whatever is on the screen, whichever is greatest. The candles, falling back to candle mode here, the option, that's bar width. Once the bar width falls below that size, we will flick to the candle type that you've selected here. Data grid on and off, lots of data grid options. Best to keep it simple until you know what you need. Delta is particularly useful, volume is particularly useful. That's what we actually have shown here with the delta candles above, and as you can see, it's quite easy to see there was a large buying effort here with lots of volume. You can see lots of volume because of the fat profile, but you can also see lots of volume because the volume square at the bottom here is darker color than any other box along the bottom. And there are numbers inside these boxes as well. If you zoom out a bit more, they're hidden at the moment because they're too small to read, so it just takes them off the screen. It makes the screen cleaner. And again, you can set in the settings here how and when you want that to happen if you want. So there's a lot of different metrics in here, and depending how you trade, some will be useful to some people, some will be useful to others. But at the very least, delta and volume are certainly useful pretty much across the board. Profile types, most people are going to use volume. You can use tick if you use instruments that don't have volumes, CFDs for instance, in the same way, and there are delta profiles available as well. Limit max vol per price. On some instruments you can get bars which have relatively no volume and then just absolutely massive volumes, which crushes the width of all the other bars if you have relative volumes on. So with this option you can restrict the maximum width that will occur. So if you see that all of your bars are just pencil thin lines and you just have one fat bar, that's possibly the option you want to set. Doesn't happen on many instruments, but it's there for that reason. If you prefer, you could turn the relative widths off, and then you will get profiles that look much like most other platforms. But frankly, to me, this doesn't provide a lot of visual context. It certainly shows you where the volume is within each bar, but it really doesn't tell you without you going and examining a separate volume indicator if this bar has more volume than that bar. So I pretty much for everything use relative widths, and that is in fact the default. Plot bar box, sorry, we'll turn that off. There's just that magenta line going to the middle there. Again, all just personal preferences. Bar width multiplier, that will make the bars on average fatter or thinner. It's just an internal multiplier, and again, it's just a personal preference thing. Every instrument has its own unique volume characteristics, and you may have to play with those numbers slightly in order to get the best visuals. So that should be enough to get you started, and I will go through some of the other options in more detail in another video. Thanks.